They're always trying to get me to not be like all stupid. That's what I'm yeah.
Well, I'm lucky because I have nobody around me to tell me to not be stiff and serious, so it's okay.
They're always so much. And she filmed so many videos for us. You have so much practice. A million. So the first maybe want to talk about is just how you guys met in the school, what's sparked your interest in wanting to create a job in the medical workplace, and then what features were important for you to have in your job. Okay. So just kind of how you guys met in school. Just want to start, like, just got on like a podcast. I think, yeah. Yeah. So hi, Shaheen, how are you?
I'm good, Lara. How are you?
I'm so excited to talk to you today. This is a really sort of great opportunity for everyone to realize our hard work and really why we're doing this.
Yeah, it's true. I know we've come a long way from PA school, haven't we?
It really needs to be. I was telling everyone, we met in 1995.
Oy.
No, sorry, 1997.
97.
Graduated in 99.
Yeah. Yeah.
1995, yeah. Hopefully we can correct that in the other earlier today. But yeah, met in 1997 and made it through the HELL, PA school back in the day before Google and before all the apps out there.
Yes.
Everyone has today to study.
Yeah. It was definitely a rigorous 2 years. And I really think that our PA school, like colleagues, we all became a family. I think you guys knew about my engagement at about the same time as the rest of my family did. So that happened during PA school. So yeah.
It was just an incredible experience. I mean, I never even actually been to New York, and it was kind of a wild experience to move there. From Nebraska to Atlanta, and then to living in Queens and really knowing nobody.
Yeah.
And then really half of our class was, matriculating from St. John's. You guys all knew each other really well. Here's this newbie. Just passionate about emergency medicine, trying to make friends, but it all worked out. Everyone was amazing.
So I wasn't actually at St. John's. I had already graduated from NYU and then come in to PA school. So it was just, it was such a whirlwind. So it was such a mix of people. I have to say I'd never met anybody from Nebraska before I met you. Yay.
Not your typical Nebraskan.
No. Yeah. Well, no, because I don't think a typical Nebraskan would have kind of like uprooted and come to New York for PA school. So there we go.
My mom and dad actually told me you should go to the best school you get into and you can't go to school in Nebraska. So that's how I sort of wandered away from my roots. And I'm really glad I did, because I probably wouldn't have experiences like this.
Yep.
So,
that's true.
Yeah, so let's talk about what sparked your interest in wanting to create for medicine specifically. So I think it's really important that people know sort of what led us down this path and then why I came back to you, for help. We had previously launched a hijab about 3 years ago, and it was good, but it wasn't sort of at the level of medelita innovation. I think that it could have been. So here was our opportunity to, revise it, correct it, and this time really make it a collaborative effort to make it everything that it needed to be, but with your help. So this time I wanted to do the colors. I wanted to find out how we could make it more functional.
Right.
We had a lot of feedback about the wrap and how the tail wasn't long enough. So I came to you And I don't know if you remember, but we were scratching our heads, with so many questions
Mm-hmm.
and pages and pages of questions. And I called you and I was like, Shaheen, we need your help.
I remember. And I was just like, yes, because what you didn't know, and why I was so eager to help was that, so when I was in PA school, I was not wearing hijab. I decided to wear the hijab in my 30s. It just kind of was something that was brewing within me, and I decided to take the step. And some of my apprehension was actually about wearing hijab in the workplace, because I was like, what will people think? How will I do it? And then I didn't even, finally, I just stopped thinking about the questions, and I just said, this is what really is, has been in my heart for a long time, and I'm just going to stop saying what if, because sometimes the obstacle is the way, right? And I one day decided to wear it, and I realized when I put the hijab on that there were definitely things that were going to be a challenge, like putting on a stethoscope, like listening, through your stethoscope. I have hijabs typically are just a piece of cloth, a long scarf or something that you wear, and they come in different materials. So after a lot of trial and error, realized that I had to wear thin materials, and wrap it around so that I could use the thinnest amount possible to allow my earpieces to go into my ear so that I could actually auscultate.
So you were wearing it actually over.
I was wearing it over because trying to wear it under became so bulky, and it would just always be messing up. And at that time, a lot of time when I wear the square one, I'm wearing pins. So I'm dislodging pins. There were times where, over the years, the hijab styles have changed as well, right? And I used to have more pins going on. So I'm sure I started the day with X number of pins, and I was down 5 pins. By the end of the day, somewhere along the hospital floor, they were being swept up. But it was just the functionality. So no matter what the weather, no matter what the style, I had thin cotton hijabs that then I would wrap around and keep the thinnest part over here so I could auscultate with my stethoscope and examine my patients. So that was one big thing I made do. It was okay, I can still do this. Before the pandemic, whenever I would have to go into a respiratory isolation room, I'd have to make sure I had a tie-back mask. And they're not always easy to find. And then if I had my hair in a ponytail, I'd loop the, a surgical mask, over my ponytail in the back. Really kind of awkward, snapped a lot of surgical masks. And it wasn't easy. So when you came to me with wanting to work together to make something functional, I jumped at it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you did, because I don't know, something about knowing someone through PA school and going through that difficult times together, your trust, your sort of emotion towards each other, I think it's just very elevated. And when you sent your videos and I would ask another question, or we would FaceTime you in the middle of the day, and I'd be like, please, be able to make that. And you always would, you were just there for me, and, as passionate, honestly, if not more passionate than I was about getting this right. I really wanted to understand the why.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to not be 90% there, 95% there. I wanted it to be 100% of the way there.
Yeah.
So I was saying earlier that, we probably make more produce than we normally would in a product. That's okay. Making the tail longer.
Yeah.
Changing the size of the frame.
Yeah.
Adjusting the position of the ear.
Yeah.
Adjusting the seat.
Yeah.
And that was all you.
Yeah. It was just, I know you. I know your passion. Like you said, you really get to know somebody when you spend that much time together. And that 2-year of a pressure cooker of a program, even though we haven't seen each other in years and we connect, on and off through social media, I know you. I know that when you do something, you give your heart to it. I know that you are the one who will go above and beyond to make sure things are done right. Because you did that in PA school. You asked the questions. You sat there and said, "How can we do this? How can we do this better?" You did that with our yearbook thing. Like it was non-existent. So I knew when you came to me, and I was like, she's gonna do this, and she's gonna put her heart into it. And I really felt passionately about it because I was at the receiving end. And sometimes I think it's more, there's more awareness now about how being seen matters, right? And like being seen, being heard, and acknowledging and taking steps to make things better for everybody, not just excluding. And there's a large number of women who wear hijab throughout medicine, pharmacy, all the medical fields. And they were just, a lot of my friends will wear their masks underneath their scarves. But, you know, COVID came around and suddenly we have to double mask. We have to put N95s on. We have to be able to access and take it on and off. I can't keep it under my scarf. I can't, you know, there have been other little like DIY things that came around because of need, not just for hijabis, by the way, because everybody realized that, you know, masks hurt your ears after a while, so maybe you can't. So people started sewing buttons onto caps. And this, one of my nieces decided to make mask extenders, like with perler beads, so different styles and stuff. There are people donating like little ribbon buttons with ribbons at each end. And there are these things that you can find on Amazon everywhere. These came about because of COVID. They were a lifesaver for hijabis because, to be honest, how else can I easily get my, I was tying, again, I was wrapping my surgical mask around my ponytail or taking paper clip, butterfly clip ends. I was snapping masks left and right. I would have the tightest seal around my face, for sure. For sure. I had the tightest seal around my face. But it was just all these like, I felt like I was MacGyvering it half the time in the beginning, especially. But then to be able to, you know, when we started talking and you're like, ear access, I'm like, yes, please. Yes, please. I would love to be able to like wear a mask like right over my ears and have it be able to come on and off. I would love to not have to auscultate through my hijab, you know.
So you're wearing one of the medelita
I
masks.
am. Yes, I'm wearing the blush. Yes, today. Yeah. Yes.
So how is it working for you? Like, is it? Tell me about the function with this hijab versus the thin cotton ones in the
Right.
past.
Well, it's so breathable. It's so easy to put on. There's not a single pin on me. No pins, nothing to like jab my little skin or anywhere else. No pins going on and off as I take off masks. But the feel of it, the breathability of it, the movement and the drape of it is superb. Functionally, it's also super easy. Like, just wash it, throw it in the washing machine. It dries super fast. I never feel very hot, stuffy, because sometimes I also play sports and I play co-ed sports. So I took these for a trial, playing volleyball. And I normally, if I'm wearing a hijab when I'm playing sports, my head gets so hot. Like I feel like I'm in a sauna, like head to toe. Yeah, so a lot of times I'll wear like a thin hoodie shirt, but I said, let me try the hijab because you know what? It is more. It literally is like the best activewear material because it's wicking. So as hot as your head gets, you're not going to feel it. It dries super fast. It doesn't get stinky. Yeah, and just in the laundry, wash, let it dry, air dry, and ready to go. So,
Right. All right. So we actually we're trying to cross out. I can see that you guys have already done Yeah. So, do you want us to redo anything? That would be your call. I think we got to hear something. Ideally, do like more emphasis. So take this as kind of like something else. Speaking about, I do want to focus a lot on Shaheen specifically, like not sure why she wears the hijab and stuff. Because I just don't understand. And then just how to pair it. I think that's a really great opportunity because I think it's going to join over to us for this next week. So I'll ask her then. Okay, so I think a good number of people actually don't understand why I should. Okay, I think a good number of people actually don't understand why hijab is worn. So I think when we're on the topic, I think it's really our responsibility and a wonderful opportunity to really talk about the why and to understand it, you know, in your words and from your perspective.
Sure. So I'm a Muslim, and in wearing hijab, basically, I wear my religion on my head. Like I'm very visibly Muslim. But in Islam, the hijab is something that is prescribed for women, but the choice is up to the woman to adhere to it or not. I know I had said I didn't start wearing the hijab personally until I was in my 30s. But the hijab is it's a form of modest dress. So it's not just specific. Everybody refers to hijab as just the woman, but it's actually modest dress. It applies to men and women. You're not supposed to wear super tight fitting clothes. It's more about focusing on who you are as a person, as opposed to objectifying or kind of defining you by your physical attributes. So there's nothing within Islam, there's talk about a modest dress. So you don't want to draw attention to your hair, your chest, so the clothing is supposed to be looser fitting. And typically in society, when you say hijab, you refer to the head covering. So in terms of the head covering, it's usually a piece of cloth over the hair, usually covering the hair and the neck. It's not meant to restrict you. In fact, you are not defined by your physical attributes. You are you. So you as a person stand out. Your ideas, what you bring to the table is what matters, not the physicality of you. In fact, in this, yeah.
Definition, it's basically you're saying to not be distracted, so that really your core, and your ethics, and the way you treat people, is the focus. And I really love that.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. That's really what it boils down to. There's no limitations. You see Muslim women, hijabi women in government, in all fields of science, in engineering, in courts of law. You see them in all walks of life, and you're meant to. That it's not stopping you, but it lets you shine. Who you are inside comes through, and that's the focus, not who you are outside. And when people think about hijab, they think about the covering. So oftentimes it's referred to just for the covering, but it actually is the entire dress and the entire culture of modesty that goes there.
I love that. I haven't heard anyone describe it like that, and I really love it, and I appreciate that understanding. So much.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share that, because I think that that's important. I think knowing that, especially in today's society, there's a lot of misunderstandings because there is not necessarily this conversation that's happening. And it's important. So, around the world, you see people and government saying, you can't wear the hijab. Well, it's not meant to, because it's oppressive. It's not meant to be oppressive. In fact, look at we have Olympic athletes who are wearing hijab. We have people in government. We have court judges around the world. We have astronauts. We have, in all walks of life, there are women. Women in Islam are actually put at a higher standard, at a higher, go out and do it. Go, do, show, and advance, and bring to society, give back, because the society as a whole, we're a piece of it, and if we continue to make it better, we'll all improve.
I'm really curious about one thing. I was explaining earlier how one of the core principles of medelita when I started was to recognize the change in many athletic companies that were transitioning from just regular cotton fabrics or regular polyfabrics to very functional performance-based fabrics.
Right.
And that was exciting, to launch medelita in 2008. And at that time, early in the sort of performance fabric world, to have all of our fabrics always be doing something for the wearer. And I'm real curious, in the hijab world, are there other brands or other people thinking about the performance of what the hijab can do for you in terms of, I felt that cooling and moisture wicking,
yeah.
easy care, and breathability were really important with your help.
Yeah.
That's what this garment does. Is that common or
it's becoming more and more of a focus, and I'm so glad to see it happen, because before it would be just, a regular, it might be a shawl or something, but it's not really functional. And more now, it has gone towards the movability, the drape, the functionality, and there's not so much. You may see a lot more of the jersey material in there because it is so functional. Think about, even if you're running around running errands, you're doing the everyday. Chiffon, even with things like chiffon, it's like not a stiff. It's a lot more breathability. So there is more of a focus on that. I think we've still probably got more and more things on people who think out of the box kind of coming to the market, and different designs that are coming. So I'm glad to see it stepping forward.
What about in terms of like certified like yarn functionality? Like ours is a dry release with fresh guard,
right?
And it has to go through a certification with the patent holder to make sure that the finished product actually does what it was made to do and works at the level it's supposed to work at. So this one's actually really working for you. It's not just soft. It's not just straight.
Right.
Not just comfortable, but it's literally like pulling moisture away from your skin, drying quickly, keeping you cool, physically working for you. Are there any other hijabs out there that do that?
No, there aren't.
Well, interesting.
Yeah. I think because the hijab industry is growing, and there are now more and more, and social media has helped it grow, which is amazing. But there isn't that ease in the testing, but I'm hoping that we become more and more functional as we look to, our clothes are more and more functional. They're not restrictive and binding these days, as if you look across the fashion industry itself. And I'm hoping that, the hijab industry kind of follows suit. That's one of the reasons that I loved what you stood for and what you did, and the quality of, the medelita brand. Is amazing. It kind of goes to the whole professional culture, and give it, like, really go for above and beyond.
Thank you. This project, like, almost 100% mirrors the original concept of medelita and the why. It was that you and I and all of our other female colleagues had nothing that was made for us. Anyone would ask us what size lab do you wear, and they'll tell you a men's blazer size. Like most women, some even to this day, still don't realize that you can have an actual appropriate women's size for a garment or work. For something you for 4, 10, 12, 15 years for. So, the original concept, create a lab coat that was shaped for a woman, and not, having a get down by your belly button,
Right.
and that belt that was like framing the bottom of your,
Yeah.
Your bum, and everything proportioned correctly,
Right.
For a woman.
Yeah.
But adding also um, very innovative performance alarms to the actual fabric itself,
Yeah.
so that it was working for you, it was doing something for you, and
Right.
This is really an opportunity to flash back for me, because this is exactly that. You have women that work in medicine that don't have something appropriate for them, that can't do their job well, that aren't perceived appropriately or as they deserve, and they don't have a garment doing something functional for them, which is very common in many, athletic fabrics nowadays.
Yeah.
So we combine those really to launch this product and make it, hopefully the best that it can be.
Yeah. And aesthetically pleasing. I mean, like, it's just so, like, I mean, it ticks off all the boxes. Like, yes, it is extremely functional. It fits well. And it's just, like, I've gotten so many compliments, like, across the board, like, wherever I've gone wearing, because as soon as, they're like, that's so nice. It looks so soft. And I was like, feel it, and then I was like, wait, you want to see the magic? And they're like, what? And I was like, hang on. I was like, look at this. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. And like, when we were working on it, I was just kind of tossing things back and forth. And my husband asked me, he goes, why are they doing this? And I said, because I really think that, because I know who Lara is, number one. And I know that when she saw this there, like, she really wanted to, like, put something out there. And because one of the things was that I told him, I said, there's not a single hijabi at medelita, And he's like, so, is there? Not yet, right? Yeah. And he's like, so I said, because it was identified. And I think you've done some work, across the world with people within the fields of medicine. And it's, yes, we can define scrubs and we can adjust lengths and this and whatever, but there was never a hijab there. And when you realize, and when I think, in my mind, this pandemic kind of brought it to the forefront of how necessary it is, because we all have to wear masks. They're not going anywhere in the near future. But it also identified, like, there are so many of my colleagues who are non-Muslim, don't wear hijab, and they ended up, like, wearing, head caps and scrub caps and this, and wearing covering, and they're like, I look like you. I said, yeah, I kind of coined that phrase before, but yes, you do look like me. And I had so many of my Muslim colleagues who are hijabis, because of the pandemic and because of how important wearing masks and wearing masks well was, they changed how they wore their hijab. Some of them we would talk about it, and some of them were like, I feel really bad, but I wear scrub caps now, and, like, my neck is exposed, but safety's first. Or I switch to wearing turban style so that I can, and you shouldn't have to come to that and kind of feel like you have to sacrifice what you feel and your observance of your faith or your modesty, for the functionality. So it was pretty amazing to be working on this.
It's really fulfilling and a huge honor to be able to do this alongside you, and to be able to have a product that is correct, and is purposeful for hijabis, and really, this is true collaboration among friends, among colleagues.
Yeah.
We did this together, and I hope to hear many stories, and maybe some of those women will change back, hear about this style and be more comfortable
hope so too. I know that there are a lot of people who will recognize and see the quality and the work and how it truly came from a place of wanting to um, do something well and honor what the hijab is and what it does and honor the people who observe the hijab and just kind of give them the quality that we all deserve.
I wanted to mention about the photo shoot. I'm not sure if you saw the entire thing, but the photo shoot, like that was really the highlight. That was a full day. That was a 10-hour day. But the highlight from everybody, the photographer, the stylist, makeup, hair, everyone was just so excited to have this opportunity to style and shoot this hijab and do it correctly. They will just, the day-to-day of shooting the same thing over and over. Granted, we make medical apparel rather than fashion, but they were so into your videos. They all watched it. They all practiced. Mama was so proud. And it's just, something really special, something meaningful. And I think we just all go through our day and want to have these meaningful interactions that give you purpose and make you feel good. And I think this was just really that. So thank you. It was an emotional experience for everybody there.
I have to tell you, I think Jen is like a hijabi stylist. I mean, she did so well. Everybody, I was like, yeah, it was amazing.
And it was the feedback. Shady was like, great. It was great.
Yeah, I was like, there was before kind of going. There was the first call was just like, how should we? And then the other calls were just like, so what is this? I'm like, thumbs up. We're good.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think we should talk about that. Like, not only were you trying the protos on as we moved through the proto phases and approving, the final piece and discussing colors and all this other discussion, but you were actually helping the stylist at the final photo shoot the day of, making sure during that hour of shooting the 4 different color hijabs that it was right.
Yeah.
And that was important to me. And, I'm grateful for.
No, I was honored. I mean, I never, I wasn't sure how it would go. And when I was asked, can you be available? I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. Not because I thought that there was not going to be an appropriate or, there was going to be anything lacking from the representation, but just because I saw the heart that everybody came at this project with, and I saw, I was here for the conversations and everything, and I wanted to see it actually come to life, and I had not a doubt in my mind that it would be amazing and it would be done so well. I had not a doubt. You guys might have, because you were like, "Oh, are we doing it right?" I had not a single one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I see these guys like anxiously wanting to ask questions. I bet they want to hear more from you.
Can we start talking about Shanique's favorite pairings, or even like start off with like what is Shanique's favorite feature on the job, and then go into like what her favorite pairing is?
Okay, go favorite feature or like sort of go favorite feature first.
Okay.
Okay, so like what I'm just curious, like it's got a lot of bells and whistles, but what is actually your favorite feature?
So I am a huge fan of the slits, but also the fact that they're not like exposed and open, but overall the fabric, 100% the fabric, how it drapes, how it feels, how it moves. I literally, there are instant hijabs or, jersey hijabs out there, and there's usually a little bit of futzing around that you have to do with it. There was none with this. And it was just, from the moment I got the final product, I put it on, I was like, oh,
Yeah, I love
there's
the
something.
I love the
Yeah. And this is gravity. This is the drape doing, this is the material. This is not any particular way that I did, because I given time with like other materials, I do like to pin and drape and do different things. Probably a few years ago. Now I'm just like grab and go. But this gives me that look of like a lot of effort with just a grab and go. And I love it. No.
Right. Favorite pairings, like what scrap colors with what?
Okay, I'll just ask anyway.
Yeah.
So I think people really want to know, what are your favorite pairings? You have all 4 of our hijab colors. What, hijab colors you like to wear with different, snow colors?
Yeah. So as you can tell, this one with the blush and the sangria, I loved it, because there's just a softness to the blush that will just go with every, I think honestly across the board, they all go with every skin tones, but it's so flattering when it's a softer color paired with a bold, brighter color. And I just love how it just makes each other pop. So I really enjoyed that when I saw that. In terms of an unexpected pairing, I really, the unexpected pairing. And I think I threw you guys for a loop when I put those two together.
We actually changed our pairings for photo shoot based on that.
So the unexpected pairing that I really loved was the dusty rose with the ocean. The way that both of those came together and they just popped, I was like, that's it. And I didn't make that video for you guys based upon, I think this will go well together. I made this video because I want to wear this together. And then you guys were like, oh.
Yeah, and honestly, I had everything out on the table.
Yeah.
All our stuff colors, all our hijab colors, all our t-shirt colors. And I honestly, that wasn't one that I had to play with. And it was just so awesome when we saw it. We all just moved everything.
So that one I really love how those two very, very different tones just really complement each other so well. So that I have to say I was very, very happy with. The agave, I love how you can wear it with like grays, but I really love how it pops with the black. That's one of my favorites. And then I kind of brought it old school tonal with the dark blue and the navy. Yeah. Because I think there is like that classic look to that.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. You can't tell. So I like that pairing too. Okay, let's see what other questions we might have.
If she wants to talk about how there are different ways to style with a long tail, like the long, the tuck, we talked about like a sporty kind of version.
Yeah, kind of a really
abbreviated. Sure.
Abbreviated synopsis
Sure.
of different ways that you can and the fact that this tail is longer for that purpose.
Yeah.
So tell me about, you taught me so much about wrapping and actually different ways of wrapping that I completely learned through you. So can you kind of walk us through this particular hijab and tail length and how you like to wrap it, or different ways that you choose to wrap it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the beauty of this is I have no pins on. So here we go unwrapped. And I'm still fully covered. So basically, we have the long back. So you can either tuck it into your scrub, or how I like is just bring it over and just bring it in here. So it's not as bulky in the back. It works well, especially when you want to wear a lab coat with it. My favorite way of wrapping it is actually just bringing it up and over and letting this happen. And again, that's just the natural drape. How easy is that? This goes really, really, really well when you're wearing a lab coat, because you can have this kind of come out, a little bit of a collar showing, and it's just aesthetically so nice.
And it's not on the side of your name and title embroidery.
No.
So,
Yep. So yes, I do get to still show off my degree. Yeah. And then there's the, for like the sporty look, you can do kind of like tuck it over and just bring it down right here. It just hangs right there for a kind of longer tail, or just wrap it a little bit longer, bring it for a shorter tail to make it a little bit drapey. The material just does it for you. You just really don't have to do much of anything for it. Still ear access without having to show your ears, and just pulling over.
And some people like to tuck it like into their V-neck or into their
Yep. And you can, and that's the beauty of this. I actually just have it the edge tucked in, and then the front draping across. So.
It looks great. I love it.
Mhm.
And we're definitely going to show all those different positions
Yeah.
on the website so people can see.
Yeah. And I'm interested.
That would have been possible if I didn't know, from feedback
Hmm.
and from you that we needed a longer tail.
Yeah.
And we needed a longer back piece.
Yeah.
Or a thicker
Yeah.
bun or hair to go into the left foot in the back without having to worry about that piece.
Right.
It's all you and the education that you provided me.
It's been a pleasure.
Is there anything else that you feel like
Yeah,
you
do you
want
wanna
to
go
like
back?
go over? Because otherwise we'll just do the spot, like, moments that
Yeah,
How would
I,
it-
you're 12 to 1.
yeah, I don't think anything else except for that last part you said, pretty much and everything. Yeah.
I know I'm capabilities I need
I'll just take out what I need to take out, right? That's the beauty of it, is I can pick and choose kind of what I need, you know.
Okay, so that, but you feel like you understand why this is and why we did this.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He has this too, so people
Yeah,
can
and
be
I
able to see, like,
have
yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's really important also to understand, I can't really say this, just people that need to know this will know it, that our very strong competition did this too.
Yeah.
And not well done, like
Right.
ridiculous, like just baffling.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us different. Like we're not out here for the money. Like as long as I'm, involved in the medelita, we are gonna do things correctly and sensitively. And if it takes going out and reaching out to learn something that I don't know, or our team doesn't know, we're going to do that. Like that it has to be done. We're clinician founded and will stay that way as long as I'm part of the company. So,
Alright, so hope for this launch. So for vision. You can kind of repeat her input, just like what you guys hope. As it's like as a collaboration, what was your answer hope? And like the impact of it.
Yeah. So Shaheen, this is it. It's all this hard work. I think a year's worth of hard work, leading up to this launch.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen, from this point? How will hijabi women in medicine realize that you and I collaborated, two women in healthcare, that did this for you to get it right, purpose, meaning, with sensitivity, for the cultural understanding. Where do we go from here?
I think for hijabis in medicine, and hijabis all over the world, I think it'll be that we're seen, we're heard, our input matters. We are deserving of something that is made for us as well. We are meant to be included. We are not excluded. We are not less than. And the same attention to detail that goes with everything else, the passion that we come at patient care and everything else, um, we're getting it back in the things that are made specifically for us, because we're not being a marginalized group at this point. And there are more and more of us out there. We are there. We're not going anywhere. We bring a lot to the table. And we like quality. And we appreciate um, the genuine, heartfelt effort and work put into this. Because I think if you do things with 100% heart, it will show. It will show. And I honestly think that you and your entire team did that. And that was one of the reasons that I didn't hesitate at all to say yes when you asked, because I know what you stand for. And I know that you want to give a strength to women in healthcare, because we may not always be seen. But you see us, and we're here, and we want to be seen. Ah, I did it. I made myself cry. I made you cry too.
It's been like a favorite.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I think. I think when this goes out, I think everybody will see the intention, the work, the thought that went into it, because we all deserve it.
Yeah, you know me so well. This business isn't about anything more than just doing the right thing for my colleague. That's why I started as my field today.
Yeah.
It's not definitely like not an easy business, and it's not been an easy road at all. And there's a ton of competition out there that has billions more dollars than we have. But my only hope is that we can continue to do things like this that bring meaning and purpose and allow you, our colleagues, to do their job better. And I just can't thank you enough for taking this road with me and getting us to this point, of launch. It's a really exciting time, and I hope that people learn not only about the project, but about you and about the Muslim religion, and take the next step to have better understanding of those people around us. I love what you taught me today about it's about having a better focus, a more appropriate focus on things that don't matter, but things that really do matter. I love that, and we could all live with that mentality. We would all want.
And thank you. Thank you. I mean, yeah. It's been an honor, and it's been such a pleasure. And like I said, I know you. I know why you came to this. And
You're crazy when I was 23 and I was still.
But you always thought out of the box, Lara.
Yeah. But like in business, like hearing a lot is not always an advantage.
Yeah.
I would say most of the time it's a disadvantage. So it's been a tough road. It's tough to care like this much,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
take care of the patient, do your job. Like you know,
it
the world
is.
has changed. It's not, you don't have that time with the patient
Right.
or the,
Yeah.
and they're right now, it's their chart or whatever. Like, it's just different for those people that really care.
Yep.
You have given me an opportunity to get back to my roots and allow me to be me, and I can't thank you.
You took the time. So I mean, that's at the core of even like our PA from our PA training. Take the time, ask the questions, get to know stuff, and then work at it. Like I love being a PA. It brings me joy, and yes, I will. You know, sometimes I don't get the vacation time or the rest, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I love being able to explain things to patients and colleagues, and to have the interactions and the whole, you know, being able to be part of a team, something bigger, and help make somebody feel a little bit better, have a little bit more knowledge, be able to take their, take a little bit of their own role in their health and to empower them to be more proactive, to stand up and to know what's coming next. What do I look for? All these things. You asked those same questions when you came at this. What do I look for? What are we doing? What can be some of the pitfalls? How do we do things? And I think we tackled it the same way, because I think we honestly, we didn't try and find a quick fix. We didn't. And we came at it with, let's put something forward that is honoring the women, making every woman who puts it on feel as beautiful with it on as she already is, and make it feel easy, make it feel like something that she doesn't have to think about or fuss about. It's just there.
Representing you.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm grateful for you. I'm doing an in-person hopefully soon.
Yes.
And let's figure out when that can be.
Yes. Most definitely.
Thank you for taking time out of work. Thank you to your colleagues who covered you for the last hour.
I just adjusted my schedule. I came in earlier and finished all my notes and saw everybody. So we're good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Bye, guys. All right.